This is a Roll to Hit Gaming First Look. In this video, we begin our three-part game showcase. The first look covers components, rules, and setup. It is designed to give you a quick introduction to a game you might have interest in. Welcome, and thank you for joining us. Let's head into the game room for your Roll to Hit Gaming First Look host.
Welcome back. I'm Lucas from Roll to Hit Gaming, and today we'll take our first look at Christopher Chung's Lanterns: The Harvest Festival. In this 2 to 4 player tile placement and set collection game published by Renegade Game Studios and Foxtrot Games, players take on the roles of artisans preparing for the upcoming Harvest Festival. Each player is working to decorate the Palace Lake with elaborate floating lanterns and competing to become the most honored artisan when the festival begins. Let's get to the table and take a look. Lanterns comes with a start player tile, which you'll notice has the boat icon in the center, and 36 lake tiles. These lake tiles are heavy cardboard stock with colored lanterns on each side that players will try to connect in order to earn bonus cards. Some of the lake tiles also have platforms on them, as indicated by the cover art, such as dragons, pandas, or flowers. Making connections with these tiles will allow players to collect favor tokens. There are 20 wooden favor tokens in the box. These tokens are really nice with a screen printed design on them. Favor tokens can be used to trade a lantern card of one color for a card of another color. Lantern cards are earned by placing lake tiles. These cards match the color of the lanterns on those lake tiles and are collected to earn dedication tokens, which are your victory points. The game comes with 56 of these mini lantern cards, 8 of each color. The 30 dedication tokens are cardboard tiles, matching the stock of the lake tiles, and are scored by collecting sets of cards in 3 ways. The tiles are stacked by color and in descending order, with the largest honor or victory point tiles on top. There are also 3 gray dedication tokens, which can be used as neutral tokens of any given type if a certain stack runs out. Finally, there's a wooden start player marker, which the first player takes, and this ensures that all players have equal turns. The core of lanterns is placing tiles to collect lantern cards and forming sets of these cards to make dedications and gain victory points. Let's talk about how this works. When the game begins, players will have a hand of 3 lake tiles. The start player tile will be placed in the center of the table with the red lanterns facing the start player. On your turn, you'll take 1 to 3 actions. First, a player may spend 2 favor tokens to exchange a lantern card of any color for a lantern card of another color from the supply. Exchanging a lantern card is always optional. Second, a player can make a single dedication. If you have collected the proper set, you can make a dedication and claim honor equal to the topmost tile in that specific stack. There are 3 stacks of dedication tiles when the game begins, separated by color. Each color requires a different set of cards in order to claim that dedication tile. Making a dedication is also optional. The first stack of dedication tiles requires the player to return 4 lantern cards of the same color to the supply. The next requires the player to return 3 pairs, or 6 cards, 2 of 3 different colors, to the supply. Finally, green dedication tiles are claimed by returning 1 of each of the 7 colored lantern cards to the supply. Once a player has returned the appropriate set to the supply, they take the dedication token and place it in front of them. At the end of the game, they'll score honor equal to the numbers printed on the dedication tokens they've claimed. At the end of each player's turn, they must place a new lake tile. Placing lake tiles is how players gain lantern cards and favor tokens. When placing a lake tile, it must be placed with at least one side adjacent to the side of an existing tile. Placing a tile as shown would not be a legal move because at least one side isn't adjacent to the side of another tile. Any of these placements would be considered legal. First, if the color on any side of the newly placed lake tile matches the color on an adjacent side of another lake tile, the active player receives a bonus lantern card of that color. If any of the matching lake tiles, including the newly placed tile, have platforms on them, the active player receives one favor token for each platform. It is possible for the newly placed lake tile to match multiple adjacent lake tiles, providing multiple lantern cards and/or favor tokens to the active player. Finally, every player, starting with the active player and continuing clockwise, receives one lantern card corresponding to the color of the side of the new placed lake tile he is facing. If a stack of a particular lantern card runs out, that lantern color is temporarily unavailable. Players will not receive lantern cards of that color until they're returned to the supply. Simply ignore that color when distributing lantern cards. After placing a lake tile, if any tiles remain in the draw stack, the active player draws a lake tile to replenish his hand to 3. Let's show you how to set up the play area for a 3-player game of lanterns. Start by flipping or spinning the starting lake tile to randomize the start player and point the red lanterns towards that player. All other players should face the other sides of the start tile. Deal 3 lake tiles face down to each player. Lake tiles are held in hand and kept secret from the other players. Create a draw stack of lake tiles and place it near all players. The number of tiles in the lake stack is dependent on the number of players. For our 3-player example, we'll place 18 tiles in the draw stack. Separate the lantern cards by color into stacks. These stacks are collectively called the supply. The number of cards in each stack depends on player count, so for 3 players, place 7 cards of each color. Set aside the 3 generic dedication tokens and separate dedication tokens by type into 3 stacks. Arrange each stack in descending order of value. For 3 players, remove any token with 4 red dots. Give each player 1 lantern card corresponding to the color of the side of the starting lake tile they're facing. This player will receive a red, this one a blue, and this one a white. Each player's lantern cards are always kept in front of them, visible for everyone to see. The player with the red lantern card is the start player, and you are now ready to begin playing lanterns. As we previously discussed, on a player's turn there are 3 possible actions. The first is exchanging a card, spending 2 favor tokens to exchange 1 lantern card of a color for another lantern card of a different color. Obviously, when you begin the game, this optional step won't be possible until you build up some favor tokens. The second is to make a dedication, and likewise, without cards you can't make dedications, so you may skip this in your first few placements. The third step is the only mandatory step, and that's to place a new lake tile. The first player will start by placing a lake tile here. First up, check for color matches on any of the adjacent sides. The first player has made a red color match, so they'll gain a red card. They've also made a color match on a tile with a platform, therefore they'll gain a favor token. Now each player gains a lantern card matching the color of the lake tile side facing them. Starting with the first player, they'll get a purple card. The second player will also get a purple card, and the third player will get a green card. After placing a lake tile, draw a replacement from the stack if they're available, and add it to your hand. Play then proceeds to the second player. The second player doesn't exchange cards or make a dedication, so they place their lake tile here. They've created a black color match and will receive a black card. They've made a color match with a platform and will receive a favor token. And now each player gets a card matching the color of the lake tile facing them. The second player receives a red, this player a red, and the first player a black. Note that when checking matches, it's always of the tile you just placed. The second player will draw a replacement tile, and play proceeds to the third player. We'll place a tile here, making a blue color match with a platform, and we'll gain a blue and a favor token. They will also gain an orange. The first player will gain an orange, and the second player a blue. They draw a replacement lake tile, and play proceeds back to the first player. The first player places a tile here, creating a red color match, gaining a red card, and making a color match on two different tiles with platforms, therefore gains 2 favor tokens. They'll also gain a purple. The second player will gain a red, and the third player a black. Draw a replacement lake tile, and play proceeds to the second player. The second player will place a lake tile here, gaining a white for the color match, and a blue because that's the side facing them. The third player will gain a white, and the first player a black. They draw a replacement lake tile, and play proceeds to the third player. The third player will place a tile here, making both a purple and a black color match. As you can see, it is possible to make multiple color matches and gain multiple lantern cards or platforms in the same action. And each player will gain a purple. Always start with the active player. If you run out of cards of a given color, that color isn't passed out until some are turned in. The third player draws a replacement tile, and play proceeds back to the first player. The first player chooses to exchange a card and returns 2 favor tokens to the supply, returns an orange card to the supply, and exchanges for a black. They now wish to make a dedication and will return 2 red, 2 black, and 2 purple cards to the supply, and gain a dedication tile. Dedication tiles will be placed in front of a player so that all players can see how many points they have at any given moment. Return the spent cards to the supply. This makes purple available again. And now the start player needs to place his lake tile. Start player places a lake tile here, gaining a red for the color match, and a red for the color that's facing them, a white to the second player, and an orange to the third player. Play proceeds in this manner until all lake tiles have been placed, and each player has one final turn to exchange cards and make dedications. Total the honor for each player, and the player with the highest total is the winner. I hope you've enjoyed our first look at Lanterns, the Harvest Festival. Hopefully, this video will help you decide if this is a game for you. Make sure to look for our upcoming impressions video for this title, and as always, I'm Lucas from Roll to Hit Gaming. Have a great one.
Thank you for joining Roll to Hit Gaming for another First Look. If you liked what you saw and want to see more, please click the like and subscribe buttons. Find us on Facebook and Twitter, and join us in the conversation in the comments below. We'll see you next time, and as always, never give up, never surrender.